Seized by uncertainty, the markets, media, and special interests that shaped Canada's response to COVID-19. Written by Kevin Quigley, Caitlin Lowe, Sarah Moore, and Brianna Wolfe. Published by McGill Queen's University Press.
There were two very different motivations for this book. The first was the Y2K computer bug, strangely enough. In some ways, Y2K is a sort of similar phenomenon in the sense that it was global, it was huge, we spent a lot of money, it was going to be devastating. And then when it was over, actually very little was written about Y2K because I don't think people really wanted to look back and say, what did we learn from that experience? Who was accountable? How much did we spend? Did we spend too much? Did we get it right? Did we not? The second motivation for this book, which is quite different again, on January 23rd, 2020, Wuhan City went into lockdown. And that was really the first major global event of the pandemic that said, this is serious, it's big, we have to get ready. 4 days later, on January 27th, 2020, it was the 75th anniversary of the liberation of Auschwitz. And it reminded me of the work of Paul Slovic, a risk psychologist, who asked the question, why does genocide happen? And why is it that when it happens, we say that it'll never happen again, and it keeps happening again and again? And one of the reasons is this sort of cognitive limitation that we have, that we cannot produce or engage with mass suffering. And so at that point, I started thinking about the pandemic. Now, the pandemic and Auschwitz are different, but this idea of how can we understand mass suffering was relevant, and I thought we need to start documenting this right now, and we need to follow it and see where it goes.
Writing it as the pandemic was happening was a very cool opportunity because there was so much data and so much media as well that was happening as we were writing it that might not have been available if we were to research it now.
It was really important for us to take an interdisciplinary approach to discussing the pandemic. There wasn't a sector, field, or organization that the pandemic did not touch in some way. So it was really important to make sure that every type of sector and field and industry was able to have their section in the book to be able to understand the whole society picture and the implications that were coming due to the pandemic.
Working with data in real time was a very large challenge with, the pandemic constantly evolving, the virus itself. So I think by taking those contextual variables and factors into account, you saw the broader picture of how response could be improved and in the future.
I hope that readers today and in the future, I think, have a reliable record of what happened during COVID-19 as captured by 4 academics working and living through it at the time that it happened, trying to offer lessons for the future. Because there's no question, a pandemic will happen again, there will be this kind of uncertainty again, and we're going to have to draw lessons from these kinds of experiences and apply them in the future.
Seized by uncertainty, the markets, media, and special interests that shaped Canada's response to COVID-19. Written by Kevin Quigley, Caitlin Lowe, Sarah Moore, and Brianna Wolfe. Published by McGill Queen's University Press.
Being involved in the research and writing and publication of this book was a really huge learning opportunity for me, and I really appreciate that the McEachern Institute and Kevin really brought young scholars into this work, and to be so deeply involved in a project of this scope. It was really very special, and to have it recognized by the Donner Prize as well for not only the research but also kind of the teamwork that went into it, and to be involved in these policy discussions is really, really special.
I would really like to thank my friends and family, as well as my co-authors, Brianna Wolfe, Sarah Moore, and Dr. Kevin Quigley, for the opportunity to come together on this work. I would also really like to thank my previous professors at Dalhousie University for help shaping my education and research to the researcher I am today.
I would first like to thank my fellow co-authors, specifically Kevin, for giving us the opportunity to collaborate on such a meaningful and rewarding project. It was a learning experience, and I am proud to be able to put that on my CV.
First and foremost, I want to thank the McEachern Institute and the original donors. It was a fantastic place to carry out this research. It was essential, actually, to our success. So at the McEachern Institute, we hosted a number of panels, roundtables, graduate classes. We brought experts in who were epidemiologists, public health officers, people from the tourism sector, ethicists. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on, and it all happened at the McEachern Institute. So if the McEachern Institute weren't there, this book wouldn't have been written. I mean, we own all the errors, there's no question about it, the authors do, but it was phenomenally useful to have all these experts coming in on a regular basis, sharing their views with us. It was a constant check on the research that we were doing. I want to thank Jocelyn Rankin, who is the program manager at the McEachern Institute, who really helped to pull all those groups of people together. I want to thank Janet Lord, who was a phenomenally successful copy editor who cut out a lot of stuff that really should never made it in the book, and I'm really grateful for her expert eye. I want to thank also Dalhousie as the host of the McEachern Institute. I'd also like to thank everyone at McGill Queen's University Press, including Emily Andrew, who was our senior editor, and the 2 reviewers who provided very thoughtful comments in a timely manner. I also would like to acknowledge Christopher Hood, who is an academic mentor of mine, whose fingerprints are all over the work I've always done in this area, including this book. And sadly, Christopher Hood passed away earlier this year, unexpectedly. He is a giant in the public administration community, so it's a great loss for us. And finally, I'd like to thank the Donner Book Prize.